Good morning, everyone. Before you even take that first bite of breakfast, I want to share something that can change the trajectory of your health. Starting today, what if I told you that what you eat first thing in the morning can determine how well your body burns fat, fights disease, and even how slowly you age? I'm Dr. William Lee, physician, scientist, and author of Eat to Beat Disease. And today I'm here to give you three science backed keys to transforming your health, starting with what's on your plate before 9 a.m. When we think about fat burning, our minds often jump to workouts, cardio, or trendy diet plans. But the truth is, the process of burning fat begins long before you ever lace up your sneakers. In fact, it starts with your very first choices in the morning, before you even eat breakfast. Let me take you into the world of metabolic health, where your body is not simply a passive machine waiting for calories. It's an intelligent, adaptive system designed to regulate fat, generate energy, and protect you from disease. And food-specific, scientifically validated foods can activate those internal systems more powerfully than you might imagine. What most people don't realize is that not all fat is bad. Our bodies carry different types of fat. There's the harmful kind, white fat, that stores excess calories and leads to obesity and metabolic dysfunction. And then there's brown fat, which is a completely different story. Brown fat is metabolically active. It burns energy. It helps regulate body temperature. And here's the exciting part. We can actually stimulate brown fat activity by what we eat, especially in the morning. One of the most powerful groups of compounds that activate brown fat are polyphenols. Polyphenols are natural chemicals found in plants. You'll find them in foods like berries, green tea, dark chocolate, olives, and even apples. They don't just act as antioxidants, they go much deeper. They interact with our cells, influence our genes, and spark biological processes that turn your body into a more efficient fat-burning machine. Let's take blueberries, for example. They contain anthocyanins, a group of polyphenols that have been studied for their effect on metabolic health. Research has shown that when animals were given a polyphenol-rich diet, especially those found in berries, they activated more brown fat, had increased energy expenditure, and reduced body weight, even without changing their physical activity. In humans, regular consumption of blueberries has been linked to better blood sugar control, reduced belly fat, and improved insulin sensitivity. Green tea is another powerhouse. It contains epigallocatine glutamate, or EGCG, which not only boosts metabolism, but also directly stimulates thermogenesis, a process where your body generates heat by burning calories. Several clinical trials have demonstrated that drinking green tea in the morning can lead to increased fat oxidation and improved weight management over time. Now let's talk about dark chocolate. Yes, chocolate, as long as it's at least 70% cacao and consumed in moderation, it contains flavonols that also activate brown fat and support endothelial function, which helps with circulation and nutrient delivery. That circulation is essential for delivering oxygen and nutrients to metabolically active tissues, including, you guessed it, brown fat. But polyphenols are only half of the equation. We must also consider the role of fiber, especially soluble and fermentable fiber. This type of fiber isn't digested by your body. It's digested by your gut microbiome, the trillions of beneficial bacteria that live in your intestines. These microbes feed on fiber and in the process produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate and propionate. These compounds have a remarkable influence on your metabolism. How? They help regulate appetite hormones like leptin and ghrelin, keeping you feeling full longer and reducing unnecessary calorie intake. They also support insulin sensitivity, which helps your body better handle glucose, preventing the blood sugar spikes that often lead to fat storage. And here's what's fascinating. Short-chain fatty acids can also stimulate the browning of white fat cells, converting them into fat-burning beige fat cells. This metabolic transformation is one of the most promising strategies in modern fat loss science. So, what are the best fiber rich foods to include before breakfast or as part of your first meal? Oats, for starters, rich in beta glucan. Oats not only provide soluble fiber that supports the microbiome, but also have been shown to lower cholesterol and improve satiety. Chia seeds and flax seeds are exceptional choices as well. They contain both fiber and omega-3 fatty acids, which further support fat oxidation and inflammation control. When you combine these fiber-rich foods with polyphenol-containing foods, you're not just eating, you're orchestrating a biological symphony inside your body. You're telling your system it's time to burn fat, not store it. Here's an example. Imagine beginning your morning with a bowl of steel-cut oats, topped with wild blueberries, a sprinkle of ground flaxseed, and maybe a few walnut halves. Pair that with a cup of green tea. You've just created a meal that is anti-inflammatory, pro-metabolism, and gut-friendly, all before 9 a.m. Now, I want to touch on an often overlooked point, timing. When you eat also matters. Our bodies follow a circadian rhythm, a 24-hour biological clock that governs everything from hormone production to digestion. In the morning, our metabolism is more efficient. We're better able to process glucose. Our cortisol levels are naturally higher, and we're primed to use calories for energy rather than store them as fat. Eating the right foods during this window amplifies their benefits. Eating sugary, refined carbs during this time, on the other hand, can blunt those metabolic advantages and set you up for a day of blood sugar crashes and cravings. And let's not forget hydration. One simple habit, drinking water first thing in the morning, has been shown to increase metabolic rate by up to 30% for over an hour. It helps activate your digestive system and prepares your body to process nutrients more effectively. If you want to take it one step further, try adding a slice of lemon or a few slices of cucumber to infuse the water with polyphenols and antioxidants. So when we talk about burning fat, it's not about restriction. It's about empowerment, knowing which foods work with your biology, not against it. And it's about realizing that every bite is a choice, a signal you send to your body about what you want it to do. The science is clear. You don't need to starve yourself. You don't need to chase extreme diets. What you need is a better relationship with food, rooted in science, built on whole ingredients, and timed with intention. Because before you even eat breakfast, you have an opportunity to set the tone for your entire day and for your long-term health. Your plate can be the most powerful lever for activating fat burning, boosting your energy, and giving your body the tools it needs to thrive. And it all starts with choosing the right foods. When we talk about disease, most people immediately think of prescriptions, hospitals, and late-stage interventions. But the truth is, the disease doesn't start with symptoms. It starts silently, often years before it shows itself. What you eat every day can either accelerate that process or slow it down, even reverse it. There's a remarkable body of science that tells us this. Food isn't just calories. Food is information. It sends signals to your DNA, to your immune system, to your blood vessels, to your stem cells. Each forkful carries with it the ability to either disrupt or restore the delicate systems that keep you healthy. This is what I mean when I say you can eat to starve disease, and it's not hypothetical. It's not just about prevention for someday in the future. This is about using food, starting with your very first meal, to take active control over the processes in your body that determine whether disease will take root or be shut down before it starts. Let's start with something foundational, your immune system. Most people think the immune system is about fighting off colds or infections. And while that's true, the immune system also patrols for cancer cells, clears out senescent cells, those old malfunctioning cells that build up with age, and keeps inflammation in check. It's your body's defense system. And what you eat in the morning can either strengthen or impair that defense. One of the most powerful food groups that supports your immune system is cruciferous vegetables. Think broccoli, arugula, watercress, kale, and especially broccoli sprouts. These foods contain a compound called sulforaphane, which activates a master regulator in the body called NRF2. When NRF2 is switched on, it triggers a cascade of protective genes that neutralize carcinogens, reduce inflammation, and support cellular repair. Here's what's amazing. Studies have shown that even small amounts of broccoli sprouts, just a few tablespoons a day, can significantly increase the body's detoxification of airborne pollutants. Imagine what that means inside your body in terms of disease protection. Then there are nuts, particularly walnuts. These are not just snack foods, they're deeply medicinal. Walnuts contain a unique combination of omega-3 fatty acids, polyphenols, and fiber that together have been shown to suppress the growth of cancer cells and reduce the formation of blood vessels that feed tumors. That's right. Walnuts can help cut off the supply lines that tumors need to grow. This is the principle of anti-angiogenesis, a term I've devoted much of my career to researching, but refers to the process of blocking the development of blood vessels that feed diseases like cancer, diabetic complications, and even age-related blindness. This means that a handful of walnuts before or with your breakfast is doing something profoundly therapeutic. You're not just preventing disease, you are actively starving it. Let's go a little deeper into angiogenesis. In healthy tissue, the growth of blood vessels is tightly regulated, but in many chronic diseases, especially cancer, this process becomes hijacked. Tumors stimulate the growth of new blood vessels to feed themselves, to grow, and eventually to spread. But certain foods have the ability to normalize this process, to block excessive or abnormal blood vessel growth. Foods like green tea, tomatoes, red grapes, soy, and turmeric all contain bioactive compounds that shut down the very signals tumors use to grow. For example, lycopene, the bright red carotenoid found in tomatoes, has been studied for its ability to inhibit angiogenesis in prostate cancer. When tomatoes are cooked in a bit of olive oil, the lycopene becomes even more bioavailable. Imagine starting your day with a savory breakfast of tomatoes sauteed in extra virgin olive oil with a soft egg or avocado on whole grain toast. That's not just a healthy breakfast, that's therapeutic eating. But the effect of food doesn't stop at cancer. It reaches into the realm of autoimmune disease, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even neurological decline. Take inflammation, for example. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the key drivers behind many of the diseases we fear most. Unlike acute inflammation, say from a cut or injury, which is helpful and necessary, chronic inflammation silently erodes your tissues, damages your blood vessels, impairs insulin function, and even accelerates aging in the brain. The foods can directly control this. Extra virgin olive oil, for instance, contains a compound called oleocanthal that acts much like ibuprofen in the body. It dampens inflammation by blocking pro-inflammatory enzymes. And unlike medications, olive oil does this gently, naturally, and without side effects when consumed regularly. Berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries contain compounds called allogitannins that reduce oxidative stress and lower inflammatory cytokines. Including these as part of your morning routine not only supports fat metabolism, as we discussed earlier, but also calms the immune system and lowers your risk of chronic disease. Even spices can make a powerful difference. Turmeric, with its active ingredient curcumin, has been shown in hundreds of studies to reduce inflammation at the molecular level. A pinch in your morning smoothie or on your eggs is a small habit with a huge payoff over time. And I want to highlight one more important concept here: insulin sensitivity. When you start your morning with refined carbohydrates like white bread, sugary cereals, or sweetened coffee, You spike your blood sugar, that triggers a surge in insulin. And over time, repeated spikes dull your body's responsiveness. This is how insulin resistance develops, which is a major risk factor for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. But when you include healthy fats, fiber, protein, and phytonutrient-rich foods early in the day, you slow the absorption of sugar, support stable blood glucose, and enhance insulin sensitivity. This protects your pancreas in your vascular system and reduces the metabolic wear and tear that leads to disease. So picture this. You begin your morning not with empty calories, but with a plate of sauteed kale, sliced avocado, a poached egg, and a drizzle of olive oil. Add a side of berries, a handful of walnuts, and a cup of green tea. That meal isn't just nourishing, it's strategic. It's shielding your DNA, silencing inflammation, feeding your microbiome, and starving disease at the molecular level. This is the paradigm shift we need from food as fuel to food as medicine, from passive eating to intentional nourishment, from fearing disease to mastering the daily tools to defeat it before it even begins. We are not helpless in the face of illness. We are empowered. And the greatest empowerment starts at your table every morning. Your body is listening to everything you feed it. So tomorrow, before you eat breakfast, ask yourself not just what you're hungry for, but what your health is hungry for, because every meal is an opportunity to heal. Aging is inevitable, but the rate at which we age, that's something we can influence every single day, starting with our first meal. Aging is not just about the passage of time, it's about what's happening inside your body at the cellular level. And here's the empowering truth. Many of the signs we associate with aging, declining energy, wrinkled skin, memory loss, joint pain, and chronic disease, aren't simply the result of time. They're the result of how well our cells are protected, maintained, and renewed over time. Science is now revealing that what we eat can profoundly affect how fast or slow we age, not just on the outside, but deep within our cells. And the best time to influence this process, first thing in the morning, before you eat breakfast, your body is in a naturally fasted state. This is a biological window where the body is more sensitive to what you feed it. And during this time, that you can either accelerate aging or begin to slow it down. Let's start with something essential, cellular damage. Every day, our cells experience stress from environmental toxins, from poor sleep, from inflammation, and even from normal metabolic processes. Over time, these stressors damage proteins, DNA, and organelles inside the cell. But our bodies are equipped with an incredible system for managing this. It's called autophagy, literally self-eating. It's the process by which your body cleans out damaged cellular components and recycles them. Think of it like taking out the cellular trash. Autophagy is one of the most powerful anti-aging mechanisms known to science. And the good news is we can stimulate it naturally, especially by practicing intermittent fasting. Simply extending the time between your last meal the night before and your first meal in the morning, say 12 to 14 hours, can allow autophagy to kick in. This means that delaying breakfast slightly can give your body more time to clean up damaged cells and renew itself. But autophagy is only one part of the aging equation. We also need to talk about something called telomeres. Telomeres are the protective caps at the ends of your chromosomes. Think of them like the plastic tips on shoelaces. Every time a cell divides, those telomeres get a little shorter. Eventually, when they become too short, the cell can no longer divide and enters a state called senescence, essentially cellular retirement. These senescent cells hang around, take up space, and secrete inflammatory substances that accelerate aging. The exciting part, certain nutrients and lifestyle choices have been shown to preserve telomere length and even increase telomerase, the enzyme that helps maintain them, one of the most potent telomere protective foods. pomegranate. Rich in a compound called urolithin A, pomegranates support mitochondrial health and stimulate the recycling of dysfunctional mitochondria through a process called mitophagy, a cousin to autophagy. This helps your cells generate clean energy and maintain youthful function. And then there's omega-3 fatty acids found in walnuts, flaxseed, and fatty fish like salmon. Omega-3s reduce inflammation at the cellular level, protect against oxidative stress, and have been shown in studies to slow telomere shortening. In one landmark study, people with higher omega-3 levels had longer telomeres over time than those with low levels. So when you start your day with a tablespoon of ground flaxseed in your smoothie or a few walnuts with your oatmeal, you're not just fueling your morning, you're preserving your cellular youth. Let's not forget about green tea, which is rich in a catechin called EGCG. This compound is not only a powerful antioxidant, but also supports DNA repair and suppresses inflammation. Green tea has been associated with lower risks of cancer, heart disease, and neurodegeneration, all diseases linked to accelerated aging. It also supports your body's internal detoxification systems, another key aspect of slowing down cellular wear and tear. Now, we must also talk about the role of sirtuins, a family of proteins sometimes called the longevity genes. So sirtuins are activated by certain nutrients, especially resveratrol, found in the skin of red grapes, blueberries, and even dark chocolate. Sirtuins help regulate cellular stress, repair DNA, and maintain mitochondrial function. They are like conductors orchestrating a symphony of biological processes that keep your body functioning youthfully. So what does a sirtuin activating breakfast look like? Perhaps a bowl of unsweetened Greek yogurt topped with fresh blueberries and a few dark chocolate shavings, with a glass of water infused with a squeeze of lemon, or a small smoothie with organic spinach, berries, flaxseed, and green tea. This isn't restrictive eating, it's restorative eating. There's also compelling evidence that plant-based polyphenols, beyond just resveratrol, play a role in cellular health. These compounds reduce oxidative damage and improve communication between cells, especially in the brain. One study showed that elderly individuals who consumed more polyphenol-rich foods had better memory, sharper attention, and reduced risk of cognitive decline. And let's not forget your gut microbiome, which is deeply linked to aging. A healthy gut supports immune function, reduces inflammation, and even influences mood and brain health. With age, the diversity of gut bacteria often decreases, which can lead to increased susceptibility to disease. But here's the good news. You can feed your microbiome with every meal. Now, fermented foods like kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut support microbial diversity. But even more importantly, prebiotic fibers found in onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, and oats feed the beneficial bacteria already inside you. These bacteria in turn produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which help reduce inflammation and support gut barrier function. This protects against the kind of chronic low-grade inflammation that accelerates aging throughout the body. So let's reframe the conversation around breakfast. It's not just about silencing hunger, it's about signaling renewal. The right nutrients and the right combinations can silence pro-aging genes, activate longevity pathways, and maintain the integrity of your tissues. And remember, aging is not a disease, but accelerated aging, the kind driven by poor nutrition, chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and cellular dysfunction, is something we can influence with our choices. Every morning is a chance to rewire those signals and remind the body to repair, to protect, and to regenerate. This is the science of eating to slow aging. It's about understanding that youthfulness is not just about how you look, but how well your cells function. And food, whole, vibrant, nutrient-rich food is your most accessible, most powerful ally in that process. So before you eat breakfast tomorrow, pause and ask, what am I giving my cells today? Am I fueling damage or am I feeding renewal? Because with the right morning choices, you're not just nourishing your body, you're investing in your future self. And that future self, more vibrant, sharper, stronger, will thank you.